Welcome everyone to another episode of Being on the Scene. I am Alma Bean, and let's get into it. College football is right around the corner. We're looking at roughly 3 weeks before we're really in the heat of college football once again. And as far as local teams, it seems like everybody is jumping out the gate on August 30th. And there's plenty of teams to watch and plenty of good games to see. Uh, and in order, it looks like we are going to have Weber State at James Madison at 4 p.m. on ESPN Plus on that Saturday, August 30th. And speaking of Weber State, I do want to send out a congratulations to Damian Lillard, Weber State Wildcat alumni, who had just been recently named GM for their men's basketball team. So congratulations to him. But Weber State, they open up their season against a Division One school in the FBS, where Weber State is an FCS school. They are one of the juggernauts for the FCS, consistently being in that top 5 to 10 range of teams in the FCS. So we'll see if Weber State can keep up with James Madison, but it is a different conference, a different division. So we'll just have to see. Next up, you have Utah State at home versus UTEP at 5:30 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. I mean, I think with all of the changes to Utah State, uh, this is definitely going to be a learning curve game. UTEP, they aren't the most difficult team in the FBS, but this will really let the fans know where Utah State stands for this upcoming season in the Mountain West. Next game, you have BYU at home versus Portland State at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus as well. I do believe BYU, regardless of who's at quarterback, should be able to run this game fairly easily with Portland State being an FCS school. Even though there is some uncertainty with the quarterback room, you do have guys like LJ Martin coming back after having such a dramatic injury last year. Um, I believe that he will be great for them. Plus, having Chase Roberts coming back on the offensive end, that senior leadership, I think BYU should be able to handle that game no problem. Now, a game that I expect to be a little bit closer is going to be Southern Utah at home versus Idaho State. Um, with that game, uh, Idaho State, I do believe they probably will have an upper hand on Southern Utah. SUU, I really have like an up and down feeling as far as their roster and the schedule that they have up ahead. But they will be playing each other at 6:30 p.m. That game does not have a broadcast as far as what I could find, like ESPN Plus or anything like that. So if you want to see it, got to be there or find some other way to stream it. Same situation for Utah Tech, who will be facing UC Davis at 8 p.m. And then the big game of the night is Utah at UCLA. That game will be at 9 p.m. Again, all these times are Mountain Time. And that game will be nationally broadcasted on Fox. Now, it is going to be a late kickoff. I would be shocked if the game ends before midnight, but it'll be a real test, especially with UCLA getting DJ in at quarterback. I would really like to try and say his last name, but I will butcher it very badly. But I think that UCLA will put up a nice, tough game for Utah right out of the gate. So, Utes fans, they'll be able to see very early whether or not Utah's going to have some problems or should they be fine. But speaking of football, we have the NFL right around the corner. And actually, we have preseason football this week. So, as far as who you should watch, I mean, obviously, you should watch your favorite teams if you have them. But there are so many locals in the NFL that I think should get some pretty solid playing time in the preseason. So, I'm not going to be mentioning guys like Puka Nakua or like Taysom Hill. We're not going to be mentioning those guys because those are the guys that you're going to be seeing on Sundays every single week. We're talking about the guys that are fighting for roster spots or guys that just maybe transition to a new roster and are trying to prove their worth. So, going down the list in the order of the games that are being played, first off, we have Caleb Etienne, offensive tackle from BYU, who is now with the Cincinnati Bengals, will be playing on Thursday, August 7th at Philadelphia at 5:30 p.m. Then you have Connor O'Toole, defensive end from Utah, who now plays for the Seattle Seahawks, will also be playing on Thursday, but they will be at home versus the Vegas Raiders at 8 p.m. And that game will be on the NFL Network. So if you want to check that out, good option. Then you have Tyler Huntley, who just recently signed with the Cleveland Browns, former quarterback for the University of Utah. He will be playing Friday, August 8th at the Carolina Panthers at 5 p.m. And that will also be on the NFL Network. And it just recently was stated that Shedeur Sanders will actually be starting at quarterback in that game. So hopefully we will see Tyler Huntley in one of the other quarters, or maybe Sanders will only get a handful of reps and then Huntley will come in from that point on. Because it does seem like a very crowded quarterback room. I believe with the signing of Huntley, that puts Cleveland at 6 quarterbacks on their depth chart. So there is going to be a lot of fighting for very little spots. Next game you have is for Jackson Dart at quarterback, who played for Corner Canyon. He is now the quarterback for the New York Giants. And then Jackson Hawes, tight end from Highland High School. He now plays for the Buffalo Bills. That game is going to be Saturday, August 9th at Buffalo at 11 a.m. on the NFL Network. Next game you have is the Houston Texans at Minnesota Vikings, where you have Tyler Batty, defensive end from BYU for the Vikings, Junior Tafuna, defensive tackle from Utah for the Texans, and Zemiah Vaughn, cornerback from Utah, playing for Minnesota. Then you have Britton Covey, who just recently signed a contract with the Los Angeles Rams, former wide receiver from the University of Utah. He'll be playing Saturday, August 9th versus the Dallas Cowboys at 5 p.m. The next game you have is the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, where you have Jaquindon Jackson, running back from Arkansas, who formerly played for the University of Utah. Darius Lassiter, wide receiver from BYU, now for the Jaguars with Jaquindon Jackson. Then you have Blake Mangelson, defensive tackle from BYU for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then finally, Dorian Singer, wide receiver from Utah for the Jaguars. And that game is going to be Saturday, August 9th at 5 p.m. Then you have Mekhi Bernard, running back from Utah, now playing for the Tennessee Titans. Will be going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Saturday, August 9th at 5:30. And then you have Jeffrey Bassa, linebacker from Kearns High School, now playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, along with Jalen Royals, wide receiver from Utah State. They'll be playing at Arizona on August 9th at 6 p.m. Then the Denver Broncos and 49ers will square off in the Bay with Caleb Lohner, tight end from Utah for the Broncos, Karini Reed, linebacker from Utah for the Broncos, and then Jacob Robinson, cornerback from BYU for the 49ers. Then the last game on the docket with some locals that you should check out is going to be the Miami Dolphins at the Chicago Bears with Xavier Carlton, defensive end from Juan Diego High School, playing for the Chicago Bears, and then Zach Wilson, quarterback from BYU, changing scenery from Denver to Miami. And that game will be on Sunday, August 10th at 11 a.m. on the NFL Network. So there's a lot of games that you can watch if you want to support a lot of the guys with a local background, whether it's collegiate or high school. But a lot of these guys are fighting for roster spots. So this could be potentially one of the few times you could watch them play. So I highly recommend supporting those local athletes and hope they get that long-term contract. Now, speaking of local, BYU's men's basketball team, they made some noise yesterday as Dean Ruckert, 6'8" small forward from Provo, Utah, committed to their program. He is one of the top small forwards in the class of 2026. He did narrow down his selection to his top 5 schools, which were BYU, Clemson, Stanford, Utah, and Washington. But the senior from Timpview High School did end up choosing BYU. Uh, Ruckert, he is a four-star recruit. He is ranked 68th in the nation, 29th at his position, and tied for fourth in the state behind Junior County from Wasatch Academy, Anthony Falesi from Utah Prep, Chidi, that's a hard last name, Nwigwe, Chidi Nwigwe from Wasatch Academy, and Cottrell Harmon, also from Wasatch Academy. They are the other four that are tied for fourth place, or those are the four people that are ahead of Ruckert for that top position, for the top player in the state of Utah. The only other players above Ruckert that have committed so far for the class of 26 are number 65 in the nation, Sammy Jackson from Georgia, who committed to VCU. 58 in the nation, Jonathan Sanders from Indiana, who committed to Notre Dame. 53, Luke Ertel from Indiana, who committed to Purdue. Number 37, Mustafa Diop from Georgia to Georgia Tech. Then number 26, Marcus Johnson from Ohio to Ohio State. Number 25, Elijah Williams from Texas, committing to Baylor. Number 13, J.J. Andrews from Arkansas to Arkansas. And then the highest prospect to commit to a university is number 5, Jason Crow Jr. from California, committing to Missouri. So it's letting you know that BYU is making moves early, and they made moves on a very good prospect. Now, from basketball, from the court to the pitch with soccer, first off, it's the Utah Royals, and they made, in my opinion, a very questionable move, but you only can see with the lenses of what's going on right now. You can't look for the future, and given what had happened, you have to do what's best for the player. And the Royals ended up trading their number one star, member of the U.S. national team, Ali Setnor, to the Kansas City Current for $600,000, which might not sound like much, but that is an NWSL record, with an additional $100,000 that could be owed to the Utah Royals, dependent on Setnor's performance with Kansas City. Now, just after that happened, Utah did have to come back and play from their summer break, and they had to come back against one of the best teams in the NWSL in the Orlando Pride. And before the game even started, Mia Justice, goaltender out of the University of Texas, made her NWSL debut in goal for Utah as Mandy McGlynn, the starting goaltender for Utah, was out with a hand injury that she had suffered during the break. Now, Justice, she was phenomenal. She made sure that nothing was getting past her. And her team actually backed her up pretty early, with Mina Tanaka giving the Royals the lead with 5 minutes just being played. So a very quick lead change. But with that goal from Tanaka, ended up being the longest made goal in the NWSL this season, coming from 35 yards out. So that was a pretty nice goal. I will say, when I was personally working that game in studio, I was in shock with how far she decided to take that shot, and I was even more shocked that it went in. So if that tells you anything, it was a very long shot, and it was very impressive. But with roughly 39 minutes played, we were hit with a weather delay due to lightning, because this game did take place in Orlando. So it is not unlike Florida to have random weather delays. But this did allow the players to have an extra breather, and it did allow some of these players to cool off and have the sun leave the pitch, because they did already have multiple water breaks because of how bad the sun was hitting that pitch. But Utah would hold the lead until the 72nd minute, when the newly subbed Priska Chilufu, there's a lot of fun names for me today. She tied it up 1-1, but in the 90th minute, it looked like Orlando was getting ready to take the lead and upset potentially a point that Utah was looking to get. But Kate Del Fava saved Mia Justice and got a nice header to get it out of the way and give Orlando a corner kick. But if you get a chance, take a look. Go look it up. It was such a nice play by Del Fava. And Mia Justice, I believe the possession before, she made 2 saves, 2 diving saves on one single possession. So you could tell that Kate Del Fava needed to be there to help me adjust it because she's already exerted so much energy in such a short amount of time. But with that save, that ended up leading us to our final score of 1-1, which is giving Utah a point, which at this point of the season, they absolutely need it. If I'm not mistaken, that was their first point on the road this season. So great that they were able to do that. They're still sitting near the bottom of the standings. But with that being said, Utah will be back in action on Friday, August 8th at 8 p.m. against the woman that I stated before, Ali Setnor, the former star for the Utah Royals, and her new team, Kansas City at America First Field. That game will be broadcasted on Prime Video, but you can also tune in on the KSL Sports Zone on 97.5 FM, where we will start the pregame show at 7:30 p.m. Now, from the women to the men, Real Salt Lake going into their most recent match against San Luis in the Leagues Cup, RSL had a phenomenal turnaround with how their start of the season had been. But over their last 8 games, they had 5 wins, 2 ties or 2 draws, and 1 loss, including a penalty shootout win over America from the Mexican Liga BBVA MX League. Their match against San Luis was similar to in regulation as far as their previous shootout game just the week prior, where Brian Ojeda ended up scoring in the 9th minute to give RSL the 1-0 lead before João Pedro and Miguel Garcia both scored for Atlético de San Luis to give them the 2-1 lead over RSL. But Ojeda took that personally and ended up rescuing RSL with 2 minutes left in regulation to tie it up 2-2. But with this game being for the League's Cup, there must be a winner. So this game went to a penalty shootout. But that ended up not working in RSL's favor this go around because San Luis proved to be unmatched with their penalty kicks as they ended up beating Utah 4-1 in penalties. And now Utah is sitting with 2 points for the League's Cup. Their next game is going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, August 6th at 7:30 p.m., also at America First Field, as they will face Querétaro, who hasn't gotten a single point in this League's Cup yet. So hopefully that will work out in RSL's favor. But pregame will start on the KSL Sports Zone at 6:30 p.m. on 97.5 FM. Now, going back to the court, the Utah Jazz, they finally gave the fans what they were wanting. We finally got to see photos of the white jerseys, the purple jerseys, and the brand new basketball court. And very biased to say, they look absolutely beautiful, especially going from that horrid highlighter yellow. It's so nice to get that fresh breath of air. And some people haven't really been able to see the difference with the new purple jersey, but it's just a lining, a blue lining over the top of the mountains that are at the chest of that jersey. But that white one, it looks so good. I'm so excited to see these in play. And even with the new court, I love the different shades of purple in the paint. I know with our good friend from the KSL Sports Zone, Christian Esparza, he didn't like the little triangle that's right over by the scorers table, but I'm not going to focus on a little triangle. I'm going to focus on the entire court. But overall, knocked it out of the park. I'm super excited to get my hands on some of these because, as you guys know, I'm a big jersey guy. So really want to add those to my collection. And speaking of jerseys, the only jersey that hasn't been officially announced for the Utah Jazz is their city jersey. Now, the NBA social media team, they did recently put out a post, I believe a week ago, where they said that this year they will be doing city edition remixes. So what that means is that every NBA team will be bringing back or making an adjustment to a fan favorite city jersey And rumors right now is that the Jazz will be bringing back a new and improved version of their dark mode jerseys. And what I'm hoping for is that they will take the dark purple and have different shades of purple leading into the mountain blue up onto the shoulder, just like the original dark mode jerseys that were originally shown with Royce O'Neal. So I'm really hoping that that's the case, because if so, those will look so clean. I'm really hoping there's an additional court to go along with that city jersey, like the Jazz did originally with that dark mode jersey they had. But all of that is speculation. But I really hope that that's the case, because only thing that I have to go off of it is pro mockup stating that they had sources and they were using that lettering. And then in that NBA social media post, they used the same number marking that they used for those jerseys as well. So that's everything I'm going off of. I don't know when they're going to announce it. I hope it is soon, because that social media post will blow up and I probably won't shut up about it the moment I see it. But speaking of those dark mode jerseys, the Utah Jazz did just make a trade for a man that has already worn those jerseys, and that man is George Niang. He just recently got traded from the Boston Celtics to the Utah Jazz for RJ Luis Jr. and 2 future second round picks. Um, for those of you who are unaware, RJ Luis Jr., he was on a 2-way contract. He was undrafted. I do believe that he has NBA level talent, but with what the Jazz are trying to do right now, I just don't think that he was going to receive a lot of playing time. And for all I know, he's probably not going to receive a lot of playing time in Boston, but give him new scenery, give him a better opportunity, and George Niang have some great veteran presence for the Jazz. Plus, being a guy that's already been here before, it's a way to get people in seats, and he can relive the glory days for himself. But with that trade, I will say it should be a little worrisome for KJ Martin if Utah does not reach a buyout agreement with Kevin Love, because they are currently at a 15-man roster and KJ Martin's contract is non-guaranteed. So the only way that they could keep KJ Martin is if they get rid of Kevin Love and KJ Martin takes that full roster spot, or they do not guarantee KJ Martin's contract, let him go, and if they wanted to keep him, sign him back as a 2-way player. I am hopeful that the 2-way player route would be the route that Utah takes. I personally am a fan. I know some other people might not be, but I think he still deserves a chance. And given how Utah's going to play this season, I think he should do it. Now, going onto the ice, there hasn't really been a lot of things to do on the ice, but the Utah Mammoth did just have what they called Mammoth Week, where they were doing community outreach. They were going to different areas throughout the state of Utah to hopefully expand the interest of youth hockey. And some guys that made their way out to these events were Clayton Keller and Alex Kerfoot. They were showing that in all likes of the state of Utah, you can play hockey no matter where you are. So one of the biggest things that I saw from this week was that Alex Kerfoot made it a huge point that girls are allowed to play hockey. And not only that, they can be great at it. So seeing an NHL player go to one of these venues and bring in other phenomenal individuals to try and promote women's hockey, such as Melissa Chanel Watkins. Like, she is probably one of the better players that you're going to be able to get in there that still plays, that's going to have some sort of local attachment, because if I'm not mistaken, she lives here. So having her come out, speak to these young girls and tell them there is an opportunity for you to be amazing and great and get paid to do this. So if you have a passion for it, go for it. And Kerfoot knows that these girls need this type of motivation. And if these girls see that it can be done, it will be done going forward. So I thought that that was really cool. But another really cool thing that is going to be happening with the Utah Mammoth is they're going to be celebrating Archie's first birthday on Saturday, August 9th at Smith's Ballpark from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. They're going to have a bunch of food trucks and activities. There's going to be some street hockey. And I really wish that I could be there, but I will be working the Saturday morning show on the KSL Sports Zone. But if anybody goes to Archie's birthday party, please send me some photos. I will be wearing my Archie ball cap to celebrate his birthday. And I really wish I could be there, but I'm so excited to see what goes on over there. But now for the full scale NHL look, the cover of NHL 26 was revealed to us on Monday, where they showed Matthew Tkachuk on the cover with the Stanley Cup. I know a lot of people were upset. I know a lot of people were really hoping for the Ovechkin penguin slide celebration for the cover. I personally had heard rumors that that was supposed to be the cover, so I'm curious if there will be a deluxe or like a Hall of Fame edition where we'll have Alex Ovechkin on the cover. But you know what? Having Matthew Tkachuk on the cover with the Stanley Cup, it's something that hasn't been done in about 10 years for that game. So, it all goes back to Lord Stanley. So you got to do what you got to do. And either way, people are going to buy the game, enjoy the game. I personally will be one of those people because I'm really looking forward to seeing the Utah Mammoth logo in full. But speaking of the Utah Mammoth, and joining us today is one of the three hosts of the Utah Hockey Pod, the face of Salt Lake Fun, Kelly Quiel. How are you doing today, Kelly?
So good. Thank you for having me. This is fun.
No problem. And then I know that we've had a lot of interactions through social media. We've never actually met each other in person, I don't
No.
believe, but we've had so many interactions through social. So it's nice to have a face to face.
Yes. Nice to meet you on the internet more.
But when I was doing some research and trying to gather some questions for this interview, I thought it was really interesting that you and I actually have somewhat of a similar background. Weirdly enough,
Okay.
I started digging around and found out that you have a background in elementary education.
Sure do.
I have a background in music education,
Oh.
and where it gets even funnier is that when I was looking at what schools you had taught at, one of them being Blessed Sacred Catholic School.
Hmm.
And I also worked for a private Catholic school, not here in Utah, but it was
Oh.
Holy Family Catholic School in Jacksonville, Florida. So I was like, we have more in common than I thought.
There you go.
But speaking of the educational background, tell me a little bit about that. Like, what was your true passion getting into the educational field, and why specifically elementary?
What I think is so funny now is exactly what you're saying, that people don't know me as a teacher because teaching was my whole identity. I mean, I got a job at 16 working at a school. Then I was doing summer camps. On the side, I was babysitting. I was just around kids constantly. So I went to a couple schools before I ended up at the University of Utah and decided on elementary ed. Initially, I wanted to do fourth grade because fourth graders are the best, and you can't argue with me about that. But I got assigned to a sixth grade class and I was terrified. Also, I was 21, 20, and they were 12. I was like, we're the same. We're the same age. This is too funny. Um, but I fell in love with the older kids. And I do think that has to be, you have to have a certain I don't know if backbone's the right word, but you have to be a very confident person to teach middle schoolers. It's just a completely different world. So I did my student teaching and then did some time at a Title I school in West Valley, teaching more sixth grade. It just got to be a lot. And I pivoted to Catholic school. As you said, I taught at Blessed Sacrament and did sixth, seventh, and eighth grade science, math, some video production, some social studies, like a bunch of things, student council, all the things. And then when I had my son, I made the decision to leave. I mean, it's everybody's kind of struggle that daycare ends up being more expensive than you assume. And I kind of pictured myself going back, and it's been 5 years. I don't think I'm getting a teaching job anytime soon. I was kind of lucky that I missed that whole mess of a COVID year. Like, my heart hurt for all of these teachers who were trying to make it work during COVID. But I feel good about where I've ended up at this point. I also got to do a job at the planetarium. And so, honestly, just education has been a huge part of my life, whether I'm teaching people about hockey or about science, all the things.
See, I think it's even funnier now that you're saying that you had 6th and 7th grade, because I had 7th and 8th graders.
There you go.
Um, and it went from teaching them music theory to eventually being a glorified study hall teacher. Like, it kind of like backtracked for
Yeah.
me. But just finding different ways to connect with the kids and have that
Music for
content
middle
to bring to
schoolers
them.
is tough. I'm sure
Yeah.
that was tough.
Oh yeah, no.
We're
And the
both
thing
in
is,
different roles now, so that says a lot,
oh,
right?
and the thing is, I was in the schools during COVID. Like, I
Yeah.
was there before. They tried to give us work once COVID hit, so I was doing maintenance work for the church that was attached to the school. And
Mhm.
then once we came back, they were very strict as far as uh, the distance between students, and we just had these long, like, bench-like tables. We didn't
Mhm.
have individual desks, so we almost had to, like, put giant X marks with tape, so then the kids would know not to go next to each other. But then we're still doing a curriculum where there's group projects.
Right.
Like, okay, you guys have to sit 3 rows away from each other, but don't be too loud, but you have to work together.
Right.
So it got to the point to where they realized that music was not going to work with the current system that we had, and it just kind of backtracked more and more to a like after school care program, and
Mhm.
then more study hall. They expanded my grade range from 6th through 8th to some days being 2nd through 8th. Um, so that was fun, and you know,
Crazy.
the class clowns that loved to educate 2nd and 3rd graders on things they didn't need to know, and
Yeah.
those wonderful parent teacher conferences.
Yeah.
Um, but I just learned that the best way to connect with the kids was to either find TV shows that they might not watch on their own and connect a lesson through there, talk with their favorite teachers and maybe try and correspond a lesson with them. Like, I somehow managed to get MC Hammer translated into an old English sonnet just so that I could find a way to connect with these kids.
So we're
But
the same person. We're the same person. That's what I was
absolutely,
doing with Justin Bieber songs. Yep, that sounds great. I threw
yeah.
a medieval renaissance with jousting, and we had all sorts of old-timey things. It's amazing.
See, see, the game that the kids all loved to play was hit or lit, where they had to figure
Oh.
out if it was a hit song or a hit piece of literature.
Oh, I love.
The winning team got 100 grand bars, and the losing team got Dum Dum Suckers. But the winning team, they were upset because they wanted the suckers, not the chocolate bars. And me
Yep.
and the other teacher, the English teacher, were cackling
Yeah.
because they just see it as candy. They don't
Yeah.
they don't see the
Yeah.
listing there. But
Yeah. That's
but
amazing.
there's times where I miss being in the classroom, but
Same.
then there's the major negative things that pop out where I'm like, you know what? I think I made the right decision, because
Yeah.
if I didn't leave there, I wouldn't have applied to the University of Utah, and we wouldn't be doing this now.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I like I said, I feel like my mom life was more of my calling, and so being able to do that for 5 years has been just as rewarding, if not more, than having other people's children.
And while I was going through your job history, there was one job that really stood out to me, and I tried to do some more research into it, but their website was more of like sign a petition. Um, but I kind of wanted to get your view on it. What is pregnancy pause?
There is no option on LinkedIn to show that you were not sitting around doing nothing and being unemployed. There's no option to say that you were a stay-at-home mom. So the workaround is putting in a fake company that someone had created called the pregnancy pause, which means that you were home with your kids, because I would argue that that is a harder job than some people have on LinkedIn. And it's not true that I was unemployed during these years or sitting around on my hands. So it's not real. It's fake. I
Oh,
was home being a stay-at-home mom, teaching two tiny things how to live in the world.
because like I saw it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, what is that about? What's the foundation? Like, what sort of support can we do? And then I look on the website and they're like, put us on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah. Well, why is there
info.
not an option on LinkedIn that I was either like medically necessary home with my family or home with my family to help raise my kids? It just looks like a giant gap in your resume when that's really not the truth. So that's what that is.
And I understand how difficult it is, and that's why it's just me, myself, and I, because I
Yeah.
know that that is something, even though I am not the one that is taking the major load of the work, I just know I'm not ready for that right now.
Yep.
So,
Yep. It's a lot. It's a lot for sure.
but but you kind of touched up on it a little bit that you worked over at the planetarium. Can you talk about what exactly your position entailed as the community program specialist?
It was seriously one of the most fun jobs I've ever had. I worked with the community programs team. So within the planetarium, there's an education department and then there's a community programs department. We were kind of coming out of COVID at that time. I started in like April of 2024 or 2022. And so they were kind of transitioning from online events to in-person events. But basically, our gig was to communicate science to the community, and even better, to communicate space science to the community. So we were in charge of a classroom that's in the planetarium, and we came up with themed days and did all sorts of science. I was out in the field at Wheeler Farm on Fridays and Saturdays doing star parties. We did solar parties with solar telescopes. I got to be in charge of two different eclipse days. So just like an unbelievable gig to get to do. And what's cool about the planetarium is that it's free. Like there's nothing better than a free museum. It's completely free. You can walk around all of the exhibits for free. I tell people and they're like, "What do you mean it's free?" It's free. It's a bad business model, but it's great for science education.
Yeah, like,
And
I'm sitting here hearing that, and I'm like, the only museum, because again, I'm still learning a bunch of stuff out
yeah.
here in
Yeah.
Utah, but the only museum that we had anywhere near that in Jacksonville is called, MOSH, the Museum of Science and History,
Yeah.
and I think it was, like, 15-20 bucks a pop to
Mhm.
get in there, and, it sounds from what I've heard from other people as well, that it's pretty much the same model,
Yeah.
but for profit, nonprofit. So I might actually have to check that out.
Yep, there you go. And then we have memberships for $35 for the whole year, which is still super affordable because in the planetarium you have IMAX movies and the Dome Theater. And so those are cheap and then you can see every single movie for the entire year with 35 bucks. Easy.
Hmm.
And we got to bring in a bunch of stuff that was close to my heart. Like I had some science hockey demonstrations. We did a whole night dedicated to Taylor Swift because they brought in the Taylor Swift dome presentation show. And we
Hmm.
did Taylor Swift science. So it was just like uh, the most creative job. Like I had to stay within so many parameters as a teacher and teach science just within this little bubble to these kids who didn't necessarily care, but the the planetarium job was people coming because they care about space science or science in general, and getting to chat with them was so cool. It's also maybe even more than people think. It's also a big tourist destination because
Hmm.
it's downtown at the gateway, and so a ton of people from out of town would come by. And I don't know if you can tell, but I love chatting. So I would chat with them quite a bit, but like these massive theme days were kind of my jam. I loved doing that so much.
And so did that kind of help inspire Salt Lake Fun, or was it more of some of the other social media stuff? Because I know that you did one for some of your classes.
Yeah.
What was really the true influence leading into Salt Lake Fun?
When I started, well, when I had a 1-year-old was basically COVID, and it was super, super, super lonely. It was very lonely. And I started going all over the city. Honestly, like my oldest son and I just we did better when we got out of the house, whether it was, masked or not, we would just try to do something. And I, on my like personal social media, had people like, "Where is this? What is this? When are they open? What would it be good for my kid?" And I got so many of these questions. I was like, I should be like doing this as a separate page. And basically, also, people were trying to share my public or my private Instagram with other people. And they were like, my friend can't see this, but I want to show her. And so I was like, fine, we're going public. And so I started Salt City Fun. And for multiple reasons, but a good outlet for me to be a goober. I feel like I like making a fool of myself. I don't know if that's a thing that I've always done, but it is now. And when I was teaching, I was kind of this reserved part of me that I didn't think was 100% pure. And so now that I can just be a goober on the internet, I like doing that. And it's been fun to show other moms Salt Lake City. I feel like I live in like kind of by Liberty Park. So I live more downtown, and I feel like my breed of mom is dying. They're all moving to the burbs, and I'm trying to keep it alive. I want people to be coming to as many community events as possible. When I was working at the planetarium, they didn't even know that planetarium existed. Like we're saying, like didn't even know this happened. So I was like, look at me. I can educate. I can do things with my kids that other families can do. I can tell people about things that are happening in the community. So it's like one more step of education. And then I'm also being a goober, trying to make people laugh too. So
Because
it's
like
just
honestly,
fun.
I think that I saw Salt Lake Fun a handful of times through Twitter or Instagram, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh look, it's more beautiful parts of Utah that I don't know about. But then I found out that you were the person running it. I was like, oh
It's Kelly.
yeah, like I definitely need to get in on this.
Yeah.
And just because of my inability to balance my work life,
Yep.
uh, just it seems like almost every single event that you put on there, it's like, oh man, I'm working right there, or if there's a
Yeah.
game I gotta cover. So I've been trying to find little things here and there.
Yep.
So
That's
one
the
of the big
point.
things
But the
that
point is also that I'm going to do the research for you and tell you about it, right? Like it's too hard to be out there trying to look for something to do. So I want to be that person. If I see it first, I'll post it.
like the only event that I think that I have found that wasn't directly through you, it was a video game orchestral concert in West
Ooh.
Valley.
Ooh.
I unfortunately had to work. I think it was a Real Salt Lake game, and I say
Mhm.
unfortunately because I couldn't attend, not because I had to work RSL.
Yeah.
Um, but I had a couple of friends that I know that video games are their niche. It's like, hey, I saw this guy on TikTok. He said that he was upset that he's putting all this effort in for 4 people to show up for their concert. You guys should go check it out. And apparently they had like a full cosplay contest. They had foods, drink. They had video displays to go along with all of their pieces, and it was completely free.
Mhm.
So I was like,
Amazing.
wonder if there's more stuff like this. And then I don't know if it was intentional or not, but your post became so much more rampant on all of my socials. They're like, oh, he wants to go
It's
out
my
now. Here's
plan.
all this
It's
stuff.
my plan.
But
Good.
speaking of being within the community, I know that this is something that you are very loud and proud of. I think almost every conversation I have had with you, there has been a mention of your very viral Utah alpacas.
Yeah.
Uh, can you talk to me about that team and what contributions they have to the community and how can we watch?
So the Alpacas, I play for a hockey team called the Alpacas. We are part of the Women's Rookie League out at the Utah Olympic Oval. We play weekly. We are not the best team, and we knew that, and it gives us a good laugh. And honestly, we just have so much fun together. And it all came about when we had the welcome party for the Utah Hockey Club originally. And there was a woman who brought her I can't even say alpaca anymore because I say alpaca so much. A woman brought her two alpacas and said, "How about the name of the team is the Utah Alpacas?" And I said, "Well, I don't know about the alpacas, but we're the alpacas." She was like, "Where's your Instagram? How do I find you? Where are you?" And I was like, we don't have one, but I'll make one." And so I made one an Instagram for the Utah Alpacas, and then more of our like tournament team, our travel team, the Utah Howl, and just started blowing it up with all sorts of shenanigans. Our one that went the most viral, it has like 50 million views, and it's of nothing. Somebody left a razor blade in the bathroom, and that one went the most viral, I think, because people were confused. But we went viral for the Utah Hockey Club moving into the Utah Olympic Oval, and we were sitting on the bench. The new bench was probably 6 inches higher than the old bench because the NHL team was there now. So we sat on the bench and started swinging our legs, and I took a video of that. And then the Utah Hockey Club commented, and so that kind of went ultra viral. Everything goes ultra viral, but I do find that I get a ton of hatred, unfortunately. So as many fans as we have, I feel like I'm like fighting the haters left and right. But what I've come to find with the Utah Alpacas Instagram or the Utah Howl Instagram or Salt City Fun Instagram is like the haters are actually helping you in the long run because it just means that things are getting bigger and more eyeballs are going to be on it. And then we've found lifelong friends at this point who found us through people being mean and ended up staying for the long haul. So honestly, more than anything, is just a fun group of women who love hockey and love hanging out together. And I feel really lucky to represent them on my corner of the internet.
And I mean, they showed up on my side, and I was like, "Who are these people?" And then
Just
again,
me
I
again.
I was like, "Oh, they're Callie's doing something else." But with the hatred stuff, like I find it really weird because again, like you and I, we have not done anything to, you know, warrant this aggression.
Hmm.
But just like little things, like I went down to Arizona in June to cover a charity event called the Ultimate Goalie Showdown, and there were some guys that had some Utah connections there. So uh, KSL Sports, they're like, hey, if you're already going to be down there, take a camera, take a recorder, write an article on it. I think it'd be really good, like fluff material. I was like, cool. So I'm sitting here promoting Arizona youth hockey and talking about how the Coyotes fandom is still loud and proud. And I got so many comments, so many people blocking me, just saying, like, get out of our town, stop trying to take over. And I'm like, I, I'm promoting Arizona youth hockey. And
Yeah.
yes, there's Utah connections, but the biggest Utah connection is someone who grew up here and played in this ring.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to be like Utah Mammoth or Utah Hockey Club at that time, I think.
No.
One of them. I'm like, we're not
Yeah.
trying to say that this is now our territory, bow down to us. No, if anything, I want to know more about your guys' fandom, your
Yeah.
history, what sort of events would the Coyotes do with you guys? But I ended up finding out on Reddit that they were fuming. Some Utah guy is trying to say that Utah put on this event in Arizona and he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, no, I got invited.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to promote you guys. Like, tell me what else I should talk about.
Yeah.
But again, like the more people that hate on it means more views.
Yeah.
The comments, believe it or not, that actually helps with monetization. So I mean,
Exactly.
they
Thank
want to
you.
keep on doing it. I'm not going to complain,
Yeah.
but if they really don't like it, Just leave it alone because
Yep.
that will really stick it to
Yep.
me.
One of
uh,
my, other most viral ones was actually on Salt City Fun. I went around town booing things in Utah, that were other people's teams. Obviously, I knew that I was going to get some hate for that, but it was ultra mega viral because of people hating me too. A bunch of people who were commenting that we're a no-name team and all sorts of things, right? In the beginning, I was like, "All right, well, we'll see. Thanks so much." But it got to Ryan Smith, and Ryan Smith retweeted me. So I was like, "Well, thanks for getting it to Ryan Smith."
some of my buddies from back home, they saw it and they were like, "Dude, you need to get your fans in control." And I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" And then they
You'll
showed me the video. I was like, "Oh, it's Kelly."
It's just me again. You'll just never get me under control. Thanks so much.
And now we're all in the same building, so it's like
Yep. Yep.
no separation ever.
Yep. Yep.
But when I was looking up the Utah Alpacas and the Howl, what I thought was really cool is that you guys got promoted from a beer league to a national league. Like, what? How did you guys qualify for that sort of promotion, and what was that process like?
Yeah, so I posted that on April 1st, and that's not real.
Oh, you got me. No.
Fooled you. April
See, Kelly being
Fools.
a goober.
If we're not
Well,
making people laugh, what are we doing out here?
well, in that case, then I guess I have to bring it up. I'm owed a jersey for you duping me. I
Okay.
saw that there is a listing to like
Yep.
get everything. I was like, is that just for like actual players, or can I like get one? Because there's like two or three that I'm like,
We just closed it and we just got our last one, but we'll open it up again for fall and I'll hit you up. People, no joke, from out of the country want alpacas jerseys now. And we have sent off, I think we did like Tennessee, Delaware, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Texas. There's like 7 people in the UK who are dying for a jersey, but I don't know how UK mail works, so I can't send them one yet. I was like, let's just do the US and then maybe we can ship them elsewhere. But it really is very widespread. And it's cool, like the connections that you can make like that. I've been talking to people who found us in Australia and have decided to come to Utah and come hang out, go to a Utah hockey club, go to a Utah Mammoth game just because they saw us on social. So I just really do believe in the power of that connection. It's pretty wild, pretty cool.
yeah, because I don't know if it's been mentioned by anyone, whether it's Cole or Mike, but I am an avid jersey collector.
Love
Uh,
that.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I probably am pushing triple digits for jerseys.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's bad.
Wow.
And I got some jerseys for guys that played, like, 10 games for the Jazz,
Oh my
and
gosh.
again, it's just fun conversational pieces.
Totally.
So, if I find a jersey that catches my attention, I'm like, "It'll catch someone else's attention.
Oh,
I
yeah.
need it."
I got
So
you. I got you. You'll go in on the next order.
and especially with, the Pride jerseys that I was seeing, I was like, "I gotta
Yeah.
get in on that." I started showing my mom because I don't know if I've told you, but I have moms.
Uh-huh.
So, like, once I was like, "Oh, look, they have Pride jerseys." They're like, "That's so cool." So,
Yeah.
I'm like,
We
"Yeah,
had
I gotta add it over into my collection," but we're sitting at, like, 60 Jazz jerseys, 10 to 15 NFL jerseys, and I think we're at, like, 6 hockey sweaters now.
Wow, that's
But
amazing. I have
but
I just barely found on eBay a 2002 USA hockey jersey that I have behind me. It's pretty amazing. I
see,
I, I don't consider myself a collector because my house is too small and my kids take up all my extra money, but
listen,
someday
I'm in a two-bedroom, two-bath, 700 square foot apartment.
you got room. No
I
space.
just have totes that I like, "Alright, it's off season, you go
Yep,
away now. Now I have a bunch of closet space." Then come September, I have no room for my closet
that's
at all.
amazing.
I will say
That's
one
so
jersey that I've
amazing.
been on the hunt for, it's for this stick back here. It's for Theo Fleury.
Okay,
Um, he won gold in 2002 for Team Canada,
I
and I've been on
remember.
the hunt for that jersey, but I've only been able to find knockoffs, and it bothers me because
Ooh.
he also played alongside with Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux,
Yeah.
which they will be definitely huge sellers. So
Yes, yes, yes.
that's been the jersey I've been on the hunt for. But when
Hockey
you get those
Bible.
next orders open,
Yes. Yes, and our rainbow ones are just, like, amazing too. It's so fun to play in them and have so many people come up like, "Hey, I just love that hockey is such an inclusive community," and I was like, "Not everybody agrees, but I agree," and it's important to represent all those colors for us.
exactly, and representing more than just the sport itself, but representing the women that have major impact in this community, and just anyone and everyone should be able to play a sport. Like there's
Yeah,
no gender exclusivity when it
yeah,
comes to a puck and a stick.
exactly.
Um, but I noticed that you also have done some stuff with the University of Utah's hockey programs. How did you end up getting involved with that? Was it just simply being an alumni, or how'd you get on
So, you're proving to me that I do too much because I forgot that until just now.
there?
I was just like a mega fan. When I was in school, I was part of the SUS, which is the Skating Utah Student Section. And I went with my friends to almost every single game. And this is back when, they were okay, but it's nowhere near the how deep this program is now. And so I had met the GM, AJ Bolden, a long time ago. And to be honest, I think I just bugged him 1,000 times and he finally said yes. He um, asked me to come be involved. And so I've been on with them for a little bit, honestly, just helping out as much as I can. What's wild is that they are running a men's division 1, a men's division 2, and a women's division 1. So they have like 120, 90 to 120 students who are all playing. And these are legit student athletes. These are people who chose to go to Utah because they wanted to play hockey. This is not, they showed up at school and then, oh, we have a Quidditch club and we have a hockey club, right? This is like a very intense program. And so I've just been so impressed with what they're doing over there. Every single person who's working for the organization is doing it entirely volunteer. They donate thousands and thousands of hours. And I just thought I could help. So I was doing the Utah Hockey Pod, ironically enough, and AJ saw that and was like, "Do you want to come be our color commentator?" Yes, yes, I do. So I did some color commentating for the women's um, games. What I really love and respect is that the GM of the women's, Amy Frost, and AJ Bolden have both like made it a priority to have as many women represented at the women games as possible. So they do the on-screen commentating. He's had women refs as much as humanly possible, and so stuff like that just makes everything extra special. Because when I was in high school playing hockey, I did not dream that there would be a college team that close to me of a team full of women. It's just insane how much it's grown. So I did the color commentating and now I've been hooked in on doing social media and emailing and merch and events and all the things. So I'm excited. I mean, it's just that was my son's first foray into hockey. Like that was the first games that we all went to together because we didn't have a team. And so the University of Utah hockey program has just been amazing. And I highly encourage everybody to go. Again, the season tickets are like, I don't know, $60 and then you can get access to every single game the whole year. Like it's just awesome. Students get in for free.
And that's something like you just mentioned it, like that was the introduction for hockey. With a lot of fans that I've spoken to over the last year and change, is that they either just hugged on to the closest team that they could find, uh, whether it be Arizona, Vegas, or having the connection with I think it's Trevor Lewis. I know they got Trevor
Yeah.
Lewis and Trevor
Yep.
Moore.
Yeah, you're right.
I always
Trevor Lewis.
I get them mixed up.
Yeah.
But having Trevor Lewis with the LA Kings, I just know a lot of people just gravitated to those teams because that was their connection. And
Hmm.
granted, you have the Utah Grizzlies here, and they are a professional team, but there's a huge gap between ECHL and NHL, and
Yep.
a lot of people just wanted something competitive and something that they could potentially watch at home.
Yeah.
So having the Utah Hockey Club come to Salt Lake City, I've met so many fans every single game, just wow. Like I had one time where I went to a game. I think it was when Utah played Anaheim for the final time, which was the same night that they did Letters for Ingram.
Mm.
There was a kid that ran right up to the rail for the upper bowl and just went, "Wow, Dad, you could afford all of this?" And mind you, the kid was no more than like 7 or 8 years old, and he just had a ball cap, and then he had a white T-shirt where he took a Sharpie and just wrote Utah and the number 9 for Clayton Keller.
Oh,
So for me, that's been really cool to see
so
that
sweet.
these kids, they might not have any other connection than just seeing one really cool goal or, maybe seeing Liam O'Brien just throw a punch here and there. And that gets them super excited. And now you have lifelong fans.
Yeah.
But I even had that happen with Jazz games. There were times where I'd be near press row and some of these kids, they're again 5, 6 years old, and they're walking with their popcorn buckets that are about half their size,
Yeah.
and they look up at their parents and they're like, "How did you afford this?" Or, "Oh my gosh, how are we here? This isn't even real life."
It's mind
Or
blowing.
and even like my first year here, Donovan Mitchell always made it a huge deal to make sure that a kid would help him with his warm-ups. And the first game that he played back in Utah after being traded to Cleveland, he managed to pick out a little girl from the top of lower bowl, and she had a sign saying that she missed him, wearing Donovan Mitchell jersey. She had a Donovan Mitchell T-shirt underneath because she took off the jersey when she went on the court because she didn't want to ruin it. Uh, and then she had like the little Donovan Mitchell shoes too. And, she's just passing him the ball. And as soon as warm ups were done, he took off his warm up shoes, signed them, took off his Beats headphones, signed them, gave them to her, and, just gave her a big hug, took a photo, and went about his business. And for him, probably just routine. He's like, another kid made him happy. She was bawling.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they had to have security come over and be like, "All right, we need you off the court. Go up to your seat." And she's just in awe that she has stuff from Donovan Mitchell. So
That's
seeing
so
that
cool.
these sporting events, even though they might be seen as minimal for you and I, because we get to go to enough games or we've seen enough already, but that one game for a kid can
Oh,
be
yeah.
life changing essentially.
I mean,
Uh,
my older son is so hockey obsessed, and I owe it all to the University of Utah hockey. Like, I would argue he might have more fun, especially my younger son has more fun at University of Utah hockey because they can go up on the glass. They can go pound on the glass, and then they can walk over and give knuckles to every member of the team, and the team can come out and hang out with them. Like, just so much more of a personal connection. Some of the games too start at 4:30, which is way better for my family.
More family
And
friendly.
yeah. And so if you're looking for, yeah, that community connection, you might find it there too. It's just fun stuff. Of course, I'm so biased, but those hockey games are awesome.
But speaking of having connections, this past week it was Utah Mammoth week, and one thing that I thought was really cool is that Alex Kerfoot made it a very big deal that we need to have a girls' clinic. We needed to show these girls that there is a lane for them to be successful in this sport. Um, and I know that you've mentioned like there's a handful of people that you knew with helping coordinate it and getting certain people involved. What was it like for you to see somebody at the NHL level recognize that this is something that needs to have attention and that needs to be done now?
Oh, I feel like I'm got emotional just you talking about it because it's amazing. Like I said, I started high school hockey with a girlfriend of mine, and we were it just felt so lonely. Felt so alone. Playing co-ed high school is really difficult. And now looking at these girls who have not only these clinics, but also they have designated high school teams. They have designated college teams that they can all access in Utah. It's like amazing. Last fall, I got the privilege of interviewing Melissa Channel Watkins, who ironically is going to be interviewed again. That's like a sneak preview. We're going to interview at KSL tomorrow. But she won the PWHL Cup in its first season. She's been playing hockey her whole life. Her dad's actually a Rangers scout, so been around hockey her whole life. And we asked to interview her on the Utah Hockey Pod after finding out she lived in Utah. To my knowledge, she's the only PWHL player who lives in Utah. And asked to interview her because she's amazing. She said, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to get interviewed, but do you want to wait until this random Tuesday when I'm going to have the Walter Cup with me?" Yeah. Yeah. Yes. That sounds amazing. Like, I couldn't even believe that that was even on the table, right? Like, just so honored. So we organized a little remote pod up in Park City and got to chat with her for 2 hours. And then we kept talking after that. And like, this woman's just amazing. And I think having that representation is amazing. And seeing women playing hockey just makes more women want to play hockey. And so I knew that she was around. And then they were having events with the Mammoth. As you said, Alex Kerfoot is kind enough to. Alex Kerfoot not only is involved in women's hockey here in Utah, but also donates his tickets every single game to a girl who gets to like sit up in the expensive seats and gets to watch some up close hockey and come on the bench with him. And that is just the sweetest. So as soon as I saw all of these connections needing to be made, I made the connection and made sure that Melissa Channel Watkins got hooked up into the Mammoth org, and they had her come out for 6 hours of girls hockey. They had 6 hours of skating, so they were tired, and that means everything. So Hillary Knight, unbelievable hockey player, icon in the women's hockey community, was also there. Melissa Channel Watkins and Alex Kerfoot just like skating with all these girls. What I think is amazing too is that we are looking at our Olympics, 2034 Olympics. The girls who are 13, 14 right now have the potential to be doing that for real life, representing the USA at the women's hockey, world level at the Olympics. So let's build some Utah ones. Let's get some of these girls so deeply involved in hockey that they can't move away. And then they'll be competing for us and be hometown girls from Utah. Like, that would be one of my goals for sure. And if I can't communicate hockey as well as a PWHL person, then please, by all means, like, let's go. You go organize yourself. So it's just like, to see it all come full circle was super emotional for me. And I'm so grateful that Melissa was kind enough to be involved and all of these women behind the scenes making it happen. It's just awesome. So awesome.
And I love the way that you describe that, because I mean, you can tell the passion's there, just a little bit.
Yeah. I
But
try my best.
but my mother was kind of in that same situation, not with hockey, but with wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
My mother, she attended West High, even though
Okay.
I'm from Jacksonville. She grew up in Rose Park.
Okay.
But she was one of the first girls to be on a boys wrestling team back in 93, 92, one of those.
Mhm.
But she just constantly talked about like how, yeah, she was the one girl, and boys wouldn't be willing to wrestle just because she was a girl. But I had her come back out maybe 2 years ago for the first time since I had left. And I was telling her about, with my day job, one of my employees had to take a whole weekend off because she was going to States. And she was like, "Oh, she is?" And I was like, "Yeah, she's going to States for women's wrestling." She's like, "Wait, they have an entire States section just for the girls? That's great." So it's really cool to see how quickly something can grow. Because I mean, that example right there, there's no professional team to back this up.
Yeah.
You just have local support. So I can only imagine what the women's hockey is going to look like
Yeah.
in 20 years
Yeah.
or even the next 10 years, like you were saying with the Olympics. It would be great to see these international teams get involved. And I know that they're focused on one thing and one thing only, but if there's any way for there to be some sort of clinic while all of this talent is in Salt Lake City, it would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
They're just picking up sticks for the first time, so might as well scoop them up. Because the same reason I love it is the same reason that they'll love it. And I do think like having the representation of, um, oh my gosh, I forgot her last name, but the assistant coach of the Seahawks, Jessica. Oh my gosh, just escaped my brain. But having any sort of coaching representation is, a really big deal. Having more women be involved in coaching clinics, and then yeah, having them have a professional league is unbelievable, because I know like Melissa Channel Watkins hosted a little thing and told the kids like, not only do I get paid, I get benefits. And the 13-year-olds are like, what's that?
she was
But
like, in about like 5 years,
yeah,
you'll
you'll
understand
really
how
care about
important.
that, because all of what were all of these women going to do? Like, you're the most elite athletes in the world. There's no place for you. It's amazing how many doors the PWHL has opened for these women who wanted to keep playing. It's cool stuff.
And another athlete that I've been lucky to meet, and just seeing how influential she's been for the young girls hockey community is Reagan Rust.
Hmm.
Used to play for Boston. I believe she does some sort of coaching for Boston University now, but she does a lot of social media stuff. And when I met her, I was just like, all right, she's super chill, she's super awesome. Uh, I guess she was really good. And then I started looking up some highlights. I was like, oh, she was really good.
Yeah,
And now, since I've met her at the Ultimate Goalie Showdown and seeing what she's done since then, I'm like, wow, these girls like really connect with her. And she's having these clinics where she's having, or at least it looks like, there's upwards of about 100 girls that are
yeah,
attending this. So I'm
yeah,
like, it's really cool to see how it's growing. But speaking of growth, the Utah Hockey Pod, you guys recently added an additional member with Cole
yeah.
Bagley, KSL insider for the Utah Mammoth. But before we get about him and his inflated ego, um,
We
how
get
did
to
you
bash
get
on him.
how did you get in contact with Mike Wolf and start the Utah Hockey Pod?
So, a local radio personality named E. White started a podcast very early on. Honestly, maybe before we had a team even, and he called it Puck Elevated. And he kind of got together with Mike through social media. They decided to do the podcast together. So they did a couple episodes throughout the summer. And then I actually was connecting with Mike through NHL Utah on Instagram. We collaborated on a couple posts about the team. And then I saw E White at an event, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I recognize you from some of those things." And I was like, "I want to be on your podcast." And he was like, "Yeah, we might have some influencers." I was like, "I don't know if I'm an influencer, but I want to be on your podcast." And I bugged him, and then I like followed up after, and I was like, "I will be on your podcast." And they invited me. Invited me is questionable because I think I forced my way on, but that's fine. To be on their podcast as a guest, and we kind of like chatted for an hour. I think I was just like a missing piece for them, especially to have been a local voice. Both of them were kind of out of towners, not to mention a female voice. And so as soon as their interview with me was over, they were like, "Do you just want to be a host?" And I was like, "Yeah, thank you so much." And so I joined them as a host. Unfortunately, E. White has since moved away. He's in Carolina now. And we miss him every day. But Mike and I were doing it together, doing the podcast together for at least a couple months. And then we kind of roped Cole in a similar way. We interviewed him. We love chatting with him. I feel like you don't even see how much we harass each other in real life on the podcast. I'm like, we're really nice to each other on the podcast, but in real life, we just bash each other the entire time we're together. But it's just been amazing to have a voice who, has been with the Utah Mammoth, talking about the Utah Mammoth with us. And Mike and I were kind of at an impasse, just trying to figure out next steps and what to do. And Cole called us up one day and said, "Hey, they want me to do a podcast, but I told them I wouldn't do a podcast without you guys." And I think we both went like this. Yes. I mean, we'll think about it. We'll talk it over. We'll decide. And we were trying not to show our cards, trying to be not too easy. But he roped us in, and now getting to do everything with KSL has been so much fun. First off, it was so stressful to kind of do everything on our own. And so having a little producer in Tanner, and having more accessibility, and I mean, just having cameras and mics that are usually working is fantastic. And having connections to the team. I mean, to have interviewed Liam O'Brien already, and we got to talk to Dave Joseph, the PA announcer, and we have all sorts of plans. Of course, this is still off season, so we have big plans for the future, but the way it all came together has just been so fun. Like like I said, I think I forced my way in, but I'm so grateful to have done that. It's just filled a need that I felt like I had, to be more involved in the hockey community. I did not anticipate that I would be all of a sudden like the female face of the hockey community, but here I am. I'm in deep. As you said, I think the passion or obsession is there. So it's been so fun to do it with those guys. Like I said, we're just hockey nerds, hockey goobers, and it's been a good time.
See, and like the first time I ever met Mike, I think we may have accidentally bumped shoulders outside of the Delta Center,
Uh-huh.
and he was like, "Oh, Elma," and
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey,"
You, man.
and he was like, "NHL Utah." I was like, "Oh,
Oh.
hey, how's it going?" Because we had a few exchanges
Yep.
through social media, but I was just like, "Who's this guy?" Like, dude just bumped shoulders. What
Yeah.
is he doing? And like, I'm not sitting here like, does he know who he's talking to? But I'm just like, rude.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's interesting is that the first time that I heard about this potential collaboration for you guys to join KSL was the night where everybody just put so much hate on Mike with
Mhm.
the Detroit Red Wings game,
Yep.
which was the first time that I had ever been on press row.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sitting there right on press row, right next to Cole, and mind you, everybody on press row, they were joking that they didn't know that there was a lookalike contest, and I'll send you the photo
Oh,
a little
yeah.
later. But they said I looked just like Andre Tourney with
Oh,
my outfit, and even the director of communications, Jeffrey Sanders, after we got out from the press room to interview Coach Tourney, he reinforced it, and he said, "Why did you dress up like him?" And I was like, "It's not intentional. I'm a bald man with a beard
I
that
only have so
decided to
many
wear a suit.
options. Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, do you want me to like scribble a question mark so you can tell us the difference? Like, what do you want me to do?" But um, that was the first time that I had heard that there was potentially something going on, because Cole was like, "Hey, they want me to do this podcast. You probably should check out these guys. Wink, wink." And I was like,
Mm.
"All right, cool." So,
And you're like, "Oh, it's Kelly again." Dang it.
for real, like I'm sitting here and I'm like, what isn't Kelly doing? Like,
Oh,
where
I'm
can
so
I go?
busy. Oh, I'm
Like,
busy.
I feel like I just need to go like to Moab or something, and
No, I'm in Moab too. Joke's on you. I do
I'm
social
gonna see
media in
like
Moab.
a SLC fun sticker just on a
Yeah,
random rock and be like,
you will. I've been
"There's,"
there.
but like it's just been so cool to see how much you guys have grown and being able to get to know you guys. And like you said, having those type of connections, I can see you guys geeking out the entire time. I feel like Mike tries to put on a poker face,
Oh, yeah.
but for you, it's, oh my gosh, I'm talking to this person. I need to tell them anything and everything that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it.
Oh, I'm just, like, grinning like an idiot the entire time, like, it's gonna get worse and worse as we talk to more people, but maybe someday I'll maintain a poker face. Typically, I mean, I don't get, like, too starstruck or whatever, like, these are just guys, like, the players are just guys, but to understand the gravity of who I'm talking to really does make me just stoked. I am appreciative of the position that I've been in. It's very cool.
And I appreciate you coming on here and, telling me your entire background and all of that. But before we go, is there anywhere that we can follow you for socials? Is there any upcoming projects that you want to tease us about? I know you've already kind of teased a little bit, but is there anything else that you want to tell people before we go?
Yeah, definitely listen to the Utah Hockey Pod. We're on Instagram at Utah Hockey Pod and on YouTube under the KSL Sports app under podcasts. I run Salt City Fun where you can find a bunch of things to do. I have children, but I also like to party. So I try to be a good balance of both. I also run the Utah Alpacas Instagram and the Utah Howl Instagram. And we are throwing a party on Sunday for ladies who are either currently playing hockey or interested in playing hockey. If you can make it out to that, fantastic. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we're going to do a lot more of those kinds of things in the future, hopefully. And you can find me on X at Salt City Fun. Did I get them all? That was a
And
lot.
for that ladies' night, when and where?
Sunday at Murray from 5:45 to like 7:30. Basically, we have ice for an hour. We're just going to do like a public skate. I have teams coming in from all over. Hopefully, the University of Utah is going to come represent for the women's team as well. I have some female refs coming. Hopefully, if you feel like you've wanted to become a ref, we need more female refs. I have a goalie coming who's going to talk about being a female goalie. So honestly, just a kind of a networking event for women who want to be more involved in hockey, but also just going to be fun. Just going to hang out. I'm excited.
And do you have to RSVP for that event? Is there a charge or what are we looking at?
It's all free, but just let us know you're coming. It's been posted all over Instagram on my pages and then on Twitter now as well, and reposted by Alma.
And again, I'll be sure to put all of those links and such in the bio once
Thank
we
you.
get this all wrapped up. Because again, we are all here for growth in the community.
1000%.
But thank you again for joining us. It's been lovely talking to you,
Thank
and
you.
hopefully, eventually, soon, we will get an official face-to-face meeting.
We will meet like this.
Well, this has been yet another Bean on the Scene. I am Alma Bean, and y'all enjoy the rest of your day.